She thought he was being difficult. He stood at the back door for 11 straight minutes. Nobody thought to check the other side. Diane Callahan had been a physical education teacher for 8 years. She was not a person who panicked. She assessed situations quickly. She made decisions. She trusted her read on things. She trusted her read on Kodiak. The Husky was 2 years old, blue-eyed, vocal in the way Huskies are vocal. Conversational rather than alarmed. And he had been in their house for 14 months before Zoe arrived. He and Zoe had developed the particular bond that forms between a young dog and a new human. She pulled his tail and he tolerated it. She offered him crackers and he accepted them. She fell asleep against his flank during afternoon naps and he stayed still for it. He was not a complicated dog. He was not a guarding dog, which is why what started on the 9th of the month was so confusing. Zoe was 22 months old and had recently become interested in the back door. Not unusual. Toddlers discover doors around this age, the mechanism of them, the suggestion they make. On the 9th, she walked toward the back door 3 times. Each time, Kodiak was already positioned in front of it. Not aggressively, simply there. Body across the threshold, sitting with the weight of a decision already made. Diane moved him the first 2 times. The 3rd time, he walked back to the door immediately after being redirected and sat down with the stillness of a dog who has committed to a position. Nate, her husband, came in from the garage and watched from the kitchen doorway. Is he doing that thing again? He won't leave the door. They both agreed it was a phase. Huskies were known for independent behavior. Kodiak had possibly picked up a scent from outside that he found concerning. A neighboring dog, a coyote, something that had come through the yard and left a trace. Diane moved him to the laundry room. He pressed against the door but didn't scratch. He was quiet. That was almost more unnerving. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. On the 16th, Nate's parents came for the weekend. Nate's father let Kodiak out of the laundry room in the morning, while Diane was upstairs. Zoe was in the kitchen. She saw the back door and started toward it. Kodiak beat her there by 4 steps. Nate's mother saw it happen from the kitchen table. She said, "He really doesn't want her near that door." "They have been separating him," Nate said. His mother was quiet for a moment. "Have you checked what's outside?" Nate went and checked. The pool gate at the back of their yard, the gate that separated the grass area from the pool deck, was standing open. Not ajar. Fully open. The latch mechanism, a self-closing spring latch they had installed when Zoe started walking, had failed sometime in the past week. The spring had sheared at the base. The gate swung freely. Zoe was 22 months old. The pool was 18 inches deep at the shallow end and 4 feet in the center. She could not swim. She had no understanding of depth. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Child Safety Officer Tamara Bridges, who came out as part of a follow-up home safety review, looked at the latch, and then looked at the gap between the bottom of the gate and the pool deck and said the following. Toddlers at this age are drawn to water. They move faster than most parents expect. With a gate in this condition, you are looking at a window of 30 to 45 seconds between unsupervised access and an incident in water this depth. She paused. I want to understand what stopped her from going through. The dog, Diane said. Bridges nodded slowly. How long had he been blocking that door? At least a week. Bridges looked at Kodiak, who was sitting near Zoe in the living room. She said, Animals detect what draws children toward danger, before children understand they're moving toward it. He was responding to her trajectory, not a scent. He learned her pattern before she acted on it. That is not stubbornness. That is surveillance. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. The pool gate latch was replaced that afternoon with a keyed lock. A secondary fence panel was added. Kodiak has not blocked the back door since the lock went in. He spent the first evening after the gate was repaired lying on the back grass for 2 hours, close to the pool fence, watching it, as if he was verifying something, as if he needed to know the problem was solved before he could stop solving it himself. The next story involves a golden retriever who kept circling under a baby's high chair. The parents thought he was begging for food. He was guarding something that could have put their daughter in the hospital.